If you had the choice to buy Bitcoin or gold or stocks in MicroStrategy, which one would you have bought a year ago? So here is proof that basically Bitcoin got trounced by gold. But what about MicroStrategy, right? MicroStrategy, remember, ran like 7 or 8x more than Bitcoin. It ran a lot more than Bitcoin. Here's the problem with MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, as we can see here, has dumped a lot. And maybe that can explain why Bitcoin is dumping so much. Because after all, MicroStrategy used to be the number one buyer of all Bitcoins before BlackRock and the Wall Street ETFs came along. See, look at MicroStrategy, topped here in November 2024, basically as Trump was getting elected, right? So today I'm going to look at how gold has absolutely dumped on Bitcoin, but also it depends on how you measure this. And also, why is MicroStrategy down so much? And surely you would think this is connected to why Bitcoin is dumping. When does MicroStrategy make a comeback, right? Does it bounce from this key area? What is driving MicroStrategy down? And what will it take for MicroStrategy to make a comeback? We've got a great episode for you today, folks. First, let's have a look at the chart. So the way you measure if gold is performing well, or if Bitcoin is performing well, MicroStrategy performing well, by Wall Street standards at least, you look at the Sharpe ratio. Sharpe ratio is basically, for folks who want to understand it, it's basically the return over the risk-free rate, which is kind of like US 10-year Treasury yield, about 4%. If you beat that, and you have a positive Sharpe ratio. If you don't even beat that, you have a negative Sharpe ratio, and then divided by the variance of the excess returns, or in other words, like the risk. So essentially, it's how much Bitcoin goes up divided by how much risk or how much volatility there is. That's the shortest way of explaining it, right? And so for folks who, when we can see that Bitcoin, like Wall Street loves this Sharpe ratio. They don't just want returns, but they want safe returns. They want high returns. See where it goes red? They want high returns, but also low volatility. I mean, this is very volatile. This is when Bitcoin collapsed like 50%, 70% in like 1 week back in 2013. But still, the gains were like 50x, 100x, so that even in collapses by this much, you're still up 30%. But that was 2013. So as we can see, this turns out to be a good timing indicator of when bull and bear markets top or bottom. So here, see where it goes red. When it goes red, top is in. When it goes red, top is in. It just means the Sharpe ratio has went to about 60. By the way, for people who still can't wrap their head around Sharpe ratio, by the way, we're here in the green territory. We've gone from here was red, here's green, right? I'll show you guys one more chart to help you understand what Sharpe ratio is. So basically, this is a Sharpe ratio over the last like 4 or 5 years. Not just this year, but 4 or 5 years. And in that case, Bitcoin beats gold, but just barely. Bitcoin is 1.7 Sharpe ratio, gold is 1.6, and we can see developed markets, MSCI, which is essentially US stock market, plus European, Japan, and UK. They call them developed. Whereas emerging markets like China, Vietnam, Brazil, that's MSCI emerging markets, 0.6, right? So just to give you guys an idea, SP 500, same Sharpe ratio, right? Bitcoin and gold, two of the best. That's the last 4 or 5 years. But if we only look at the last 1 year, 12 months or so, or 18 months or so, gold has trounced Bitcoin. Gold is at 4 right now, 3 or 4, whereas Bitcoin is more like 0 right now. But that's a big signal for an entry. So in other words, it basically means Bitcoin has not outperformed the risk-free rate, which is the 4% boring 4% yield or return you get on the US Treasury bonds, right? Now, as we said, when it goes red, it's a major local top or even all-time high top, right? When it goes red. And even here, when it goes red, this was when it was at 74K. Remember how it winded down to like 49K, right? But when it goes green, that's usually when Bitcoin is making a bottom. See, it's making a bottom here. 2015, 2019, bottom here, right? 2022, bottom here, right? Now we've gone green again.